Welcome everyone to today's webinar. We're thrilled to have Ian Lurie with Portent with us here today. But today, Portent and Page on Power present the webinar. Here it is, SEO and link building, things you don't want to hear in 2015. I'm sorry that we have to tell you these things, but by the end of this webinar, you will have a lot more knowledge and information than you did previously about SEO and link building. And it's a vital industry. It's something that's growing and is still extremely useful. And I think by the end of this presentation, you will have new insights and new knowledge that you didn't have about what is available and what you can do. And I think more than anything, this is going to help clarify some misunderstandings and some confusion out there. Now, we're thrilled to have with us on the webinar, of course, there's myself. I'm Jon Ball. I'm the CEO of Page on Power. We're a custom link building firm located in Boise, Idaho. Also on the webinar, we have Ian Lurie. We're so excited to have Ian. Let me tell you just a little bit about Ian. He's CEO and founder of Portent, a digital agency practicing search, social, content, and analytics. After 20 years in the business, which seems almost impossible, he can go on for hours, so be careful when you ask him questions at parties. He writes and speaks everywhere he can, including Entrepreneur.com, Nashville, MozCon, AdTech, and Seattle Interactive Conference. And he's kind of a bit of an addict, Rick. So, really thrilled to have you here, Ian.
Hey, excited to be here.
Good. Also on the webinar today, we have Nick Chimonis. Nicholas Chimonis works here at Page on Power. He's the head of research and development at Page on Power. He's the biggest link building nerd in the world. Through a combination of data-driven analysis and thorough testing of marketing tools and link building tactics, Nick ensures that Page on Power remains at the forefront of the ever-changing search marketing landscape. And I'll just say the ever-changing link building landscape. Also on the webinar today, we have none other than Cody Cahill. Cody Cahill is an esteemed project manager at Page on Power. He leads a team of skilled content and outreach specialists, or link builders, dedicated to improving search visibility for large and small businesses. For the past 3 years, Cody has engaged directly with clients to orchestrate over 50 marketing campaigns specifically designed to attract and acquire links that improve search marketing performance, build brand awareness, and effectively engage the client's core demographic. So, this is going to be a whole lot of fun. I will be your MC today. The main part of the content will be presented by Nick and Cody. And then, of course, Ian will anchor the presentation with information about SEO. As you go through this presentation, if you have questions, there is an interface that says enter a question. We have Megan standing by. Megan's going to answer the questions that can be answered. If it's a great question, we're going to save it for later. We'll do 15 to 20 minutes of Q&A with Nick and Cody and Ian. So please submit your questions. And if we can't get to them in this presentation, we'll ask you we'll answer those questions later. Okay, without much further ado, Cody, Nick, are you ready?
We are ready. Thanks, John.
Thanks a lot, John. Take it away.
I suppose to put a voice to a name, I'm Nicholas Chimonis.
And I'm Cody Cahill, and we are pumped up and excited to talk about link building.
All right, so first up, is link building dead?
That's one thing that I don't want to hear in 2015, that's for sure. Link building is not dead. If any of our listeners are afraid of link building or wary of link building, don't be. You just have to be wary of the way link building was. Link building from 2011 is dead, but link building as a practice is very much alive.
I really suggest to everybody out there in the internet marketing industry that we stop referring to spam from 3 years ago as link building. That was spam building. That never was link building.
Yep. So is link building dying? No, it's not. It's thriving when it's done right. What's dying and dead is manipulative, spammy, no-value tactics from the past. That is not link building. That's not what we talk about when we talk about link building, and it never will be again.
Yeah, it's spam died a long time ago. Link building continues to evolve. Relationship building, going out there and getting the links you deserve, followed by actually deserving to get those links, right?
Absolutely. So, has link building changed? it's changed dramatically since a few years ago. As a lot of our listeners probably know, Google changed the game a little bit with links in April of 2012 with the Penguin update, and subsequent algorithmic changes that tightened the noose even further on spammy and manipulative link building. And so what once was best practices with link building, and it was all about quantity, and it was all automation and that kind of thing, that is either gone away or is going away. And now, like Nick noted, it's about building relationships and sharing helpful content, and basically adding value to the web, not manipulating the web.
And it's not just link building that's changed, it's SEO. You see just as many SEOs dead articles out there. There's an entire website, it's called SEOsdead.net, and the publication date of that website changes to today's date every single day. It's ridiculous. And so this, along with the entire spectrum of internet marketing, changed with Panda and Penguin, and all these reiterations of algorithms, of anti-spam detection algorithms that Google continues to invest in. So what does that mean? It means that links are still valuable, right? It means because they're investing money in these algorithms, they don't want to do away with links, they want to do away with spam.
It means SEO has become real marketing. Once it was like, the person in the back of the room, with the techie nerd, and working his wonders, and now it's real marketing, and this is a good evolution.
I agree, and what else is really telling, in my opinion, is that the Google guidelines haven't changed all that much. Sure, they've added, like, okay, stop doing widget, embedded, weird, hidden links, and they update little things. Oh, infographics are getting crazy. Guest blogging is getting out of control, sure. But the guidelines themselves have never really changed that much. It's just that Google's walk with the algorithms is caught up to their top. It's caught up with their guidelines. And now it's not like a joke. Oh, ha, 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 funny, I'm going to rank overnight with my spam. Now you kind of got to be a little more keen to the risk. Strategic.
So what's the future hold for link building? Is it going to continue to evolve like it has over the last few years? Yes, we think it will. But I think most of the dramatic changes have already happened. With Penguin and some other algorithmic updates like Panda that penalize duplicate and spun content and thin content. But I think Google's going to continue tweaking the algorithm to improve results and make manipulative link building work less. In some instances you can still see it working. I would project in the future that it's going to work less frequently than it does now. And that means the value of true link building, of quality link building, is going to grow.
Well, we were talking to John earlier this week about this, about how Google, since 2011 with Panda and 2012 with Penguin and all the reiterations since, they built the engine. They had to build that engine, and there's manual refreshes. It took them all this time to make the manual, and then Panda started rolling into the algorithm, getting semi-monthly seemingly, and everything keeps moving that way, and we know it's going to keep getting tuned. But first they had to build it. They had to shock the system. They had to make dramatic changes. And now it's just tweaking it.
And it really was a dramatic change for SEOs and the whole, link building landscape. And it's been 3 years now, almost to the month. And still some people haven't adapted, and still some people haven't, figured it out. But they will one way or the other, or they're not going to, be successful search marketers.
Yeah, link builders were forced to become link removal experts for a couple years there, and wasn't that fun. Disavow and link removal. And I'm really happy to see that less and less of those clients are coming in the door.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of that has kind of been taken care of, but it took a few years. There was a huge just landslide of, we've been penalized, we were ranking so well, links helped us, and that house of cards fell, all that link spam that got them ranked quickly, and then so many businesses needed to clean up. This whole industry, there's like link cleanup specialty agencies out there, and that's all they do.
Yeah, I mean, I hope to see less and less of that in the future, because, I mean, link cleanup and that kind of thing is really not real marketing. That's about, gaming the algorithm or playing to the algorithm. And link building, though, is about, getting eyeballs on your content and attracting your target demographic and all those righteous things that make marketing what it is.
Completely righteous. Will links ever be removed entirely as a ranking factor? For Google, that's very unlikely. Yandex, the Russian search engine of note in Russia,
supposedly
is not using link factors for commercial queries.
And this is something that we'll get into a little bit further. But I mean, the whole a lot of, I don't know, overly dramatic SEOs are like, oh, the links are going to be removed and they're no longer going to count links, and that's not really the case at all. I mean, they're not going to count garbage links. They're not going to count, quantity isn't going to be what counts, but are really good links going to be a very huge part of, your ranking factors? Absolutely.
And that was the whole point of Penguin. That's why Google invested all this time and money into this engineering to do something that had never really been done before, a machine learning algorithm to determine relevancy and quality of links. Well, that's new. as PageRank first was, and that continues to evolve. And as they continually invest in that, it's just a surefire sign that they're not going to sweep all that away. It doesn't make sense. Matt Cutts had a video where he said, we tested, even recently tested, just kind of letting Hannah do its thing and removing links entirely.
All their other signals.
Yeah, removing links and just using all the other 200-some signals, whatever.
It was garbage.
And he said the quality was much, much worse. Are the value of links declining? Well, sort of. It's more like there's qualifying bars, qualifying checks and measures that mean if you don't hit all these other quality signals that Google's looking for, the good links might not do much for you until you get those other, bad technical SEO, poor page speed, all that sort of thing taken care of. Then your links might start mattering.
You're not going to rank your website based on links alone. And nor should you. Maybe years ago you could, maybe even in some instances today you can. In the future you're not going to be able to. You have to be providing quality value, in which way you'll get quality links.
You might even argue then that the value of quality links are increasing.
Exactly, which we'll get to in a moment.
All right, let's move on along.
So as the value of manipulative links go down, and as Google tightens that up, that just makes the value of high-quality links even more powerful. And so the notion that links are losing their value is true in one sense because Google's adding other factors into their rankings, but that's like all the links in the world. But the value of the high-quality links are only increasing and going to remain, super powerful.
Yeah, and it was actually a couple years ago, I think it was December 2012 or so, Rand had a really thought-provoking blog post. Rand Fishkin on his personal blog on the Boss site. And he said that it's a bad way to look at ranking factors as a pie chart. And to say that, as we add more factors, every slice of the pie decreases. It's more like a bar chart. It's more like there's checks and measures that will balance or cancel out any other factor if you're not hitting all the different quality signals. If you're showing signs of artificial manipulation, you have a huge link velocity, but you're a brand new site and you don't have any indexation yet really, and it's all this kind of stuff. It doesn't make sense, right? So I think that's, thinking of it in a bar chart rather than a pie chart is a really smart way of thinking about ranking factors.
So like we mentioned, Google's constantly adding new signals to determine the quality of websites, and in some ways those, that diminishes the power of link quantity and stuff. But, one of the key crucial signals for Google that your site is quality and possesses authority is that you're getting links from sites that are quality and possess authority. And so that's not going to change. I guess we keep repeating that, but it's so true.
And one of the reasons that these are such good signals is that links don't just happen.
Right.
Linking is actually kind of a fairly uncommon act on the web these days. It's a lot more likely someone's going to socially share the page on your website they like. Twitter, Facebook, Google+, maybe.
Well, yeah, probably not. But Google has almost made people afraid of links, and that's kind of what I hope is the era that we're leaving. Maybe that was necessary for Google to shock the world and get people doing link cleanup and kind of worried about links. But hopefully, we're moving into an era now where quality linking and linking to other content and linking to helpful resources is something that's celebrated. Webmasters and SEOs and small business owners all understand that this is a good thing, not a bad thing, when it's done right.
Right. I completely agree with everything you just said.
So okay, so hopefully we've convinced you that that the link building is still a good thing, and when it's done right. And so let's get into a little bit of the how. So okay, so how do you go about building links, quality and authoritative links that are going to be valuable, forever? How do we do that?
Well, it's kind of a whole process that I present to you as an idea and maybe a philosophy you can adopt in your marketing efforts. That you do a lot of research first. You find things that people really want to know more about, questions that they have, pain points they have, emotional triggers, all kind of research going into your target audience first before you do anything.
Yep.
And then guide your content efforts that way. Try to create evergreen things. Try to create pieces of content that provide value not now but forever and that people really want.
Yeah, I mean, when clients come through the door here at Page One Power, and I'm helping to manage their project, and one of the first things I ask them is like, does your site deserve to be ranked? Does it deserve to get great links? And we're not gonna be able to get a site ranking that has garbage content just because we build a bunch of links, because those links aren't going to be valuable, because who wants to link to to crummy stuff? Nobody.
Right.
So yeah, so in order, if you got to do the planning. You have to have a plan. You got to do this the right way. So what do? We mentioned it starts with having a website, having content that deserves to be ranked. The days of being able to just put up a site and do some keyword research and then spam links and rank overnight, those days are over.
Well, and this ties into providing unique value. Why don't you go out and see if content that you think is a brilliant idea has already been made 1 million times over? Do Google search for SEO is dead and see that there's 10,000 articles already written on it.
Another thing that I don't want to see here in 2015 is talk about, oh, I got great content on my website. And really what they have is they have some words on a page. It looks like anything else, providing no unique value. It's just content for the sake of content. And we've talked a lot about that before in past webinars. That
we're blogging every single day, and I still don't understand why it's not working.
You have to do your research. You have to know what your audience wants.
Yeah, so don't just shoot in the dark. Have a plan, and this goes into this research bit, is knowing who you're going to target and how you're going to appeal to them, and that guides your content. And then once that content is created, you reach out to those people that you researched before you made the content, might be interested in it, or maybe you even talk to them while you're creating the content. If they do have some influence of their own, maybe they'd like to contribute, maybe they'd like to provide an expert opinion and add value to it, and they'll be likely to share. There's all kinds of things that you benefit from doing some research and talking to people and looking at their interests on the web before you go make content, before you try to get links.
Right, like we always say, your content needs to have a purpose. What part of the marketing funnel are you targeting? Who are you targeting? What do you want them to do with that content? Do you want them to just read that content and then bounce, or do you want them to to convert on that page, or at what point of the marketing funnel is this content, targeting? And for link building, that's usually at the top of the funnel, right?
We plug this a lot, but it's so true. Good link building occurs at the top of the funnel. You can't have content that's just purely conversion-based and expect to earn all kinds of natural links. People will want you to pay them to link to your product page where you're selling something, because they're helping you out for free, and why should they do that? Well, maybe because you're using top of the funnel content, not bottom of the funnel content. So the content you're asking them to link to has a lot of value, is very resourceful, provides something to them, so they want to link to it. And within that content, have some internal links to your product pages where you want that link equity to flow that you earn.
And basically what we mean with that is that, if you want your product pages to rank, we understand that, but probably the best links that we're going to be able to get aren't going to be to those product pages. Occasionally we can get big wins there, but the window of people that might want to link to a product page is rather small.
Right. So we kind of talked about this in the beginning. Link building is not a quick win proposition.
Right.
It's not flash in the pan. It's not rank #1 overnight. Any SEO service you see that guarantees that is lying to you or putting you in severe risk of a penalty.
Right. And this is
algorithmic effect.
Exactly. And this is another thing that I don't want to hear in 2015 is the idea that people haven't adjusted to the fact that link building once was something that you could do, and it would be overnight for a big win, and you do a bunch of link building one week, and the next week you'd be ranking. Like, that is no longer the thing. This is a long-term game that it's part of your overall marketing, search marketing, strategy, right?
Yes, best fits in holistically with other marketing efforts going on. And
exactly.
It's incredible when we can partner with marketing agencies that are doing content marketing already. Perhaps they've already done a lot of this research, user research, and target demographic research, so that then we can build on that and mirror their efforts and work with them. So that's a big part. Or if they're a PR campaign going for a client, and they often are getting incredible press, really thinking about the links, and they're getting all these mentions, but no one's actually linking to them. And it's so easy to just outreach to these publications that have already mentioned your brand. Say, hey, would you mind updating with the link to us? Thanks.
Yeah,
most of the time,
percentage on that is
very
really high.
Very
Unfortunately,
high.
not every client, not every business is getting great press mentions, but when they are,
yeah, it's very helpful. And finally, be willing to fail fast and often, and pivot and rinse and repeat. It's a creative endeavor. Link building is something where you do all this research, you come up with a hypothesis, an idea, and you test it and see how the response is. And if it's not working, don't just keep doing it. Take a step back, look at what's not working, look at what is and why, and pivot.
And sometimes you can do things all the right way and not achieve the success that you anticipated. You can do your research, you can create a great piece of content, but it just doesn't it doesn't hit, and you got to be willing to to mix it up and try again and stick with it. And what I always tell clients today, we don't want to have all of our eggs in one tactical basket, so to speak. We want to be exploring lots of different strategies and tactics for getting your content out there, for getting links, for it's not just one this one thing that is going to carry the day.
Yeah, and I think part of that is a re-education thing that we have to take the burden of from all the spam, link building, and past, all the misconceptions, the bad perceptions that you can just rank really quick. This is a magic bullet. You don't need anything else. It's $500 and you're going to get rich on the internet. That's not.
And there's plenty of people to this day, if their message is that, hey, I'll get you links, I'll get you rankings, and but I think our audience, those of us that are listening, we know better, right? And that link building of 2011 is not link building 2015, and link building from 2011 isn't coming back.
Thank you. Well said. All right, well, that does it for us, and I believe that we're going to be pushing out a poll question pretty soon here, and then going into Ian's portion of the presentation. So any closing thoughts while we're getting that all aligned on Mike's side?
I just can't stress it enough that link building is a really important thing if you want to have an effective search marketing campaign, and it's not something you want to be afraid of. It's something that you want to make sure you're doing it right.
Yeah, think about how you're adding value to the web. We have kind of a silly acronym that page I'm many, but this one is FTBOM, for the betterment of mankind. What you're doing on the internet with your marketing should intrinsically align with the interests of humans, and it should add value to their web experience.
If your link building strategies are adding value to the web and adding value to the people that might click on that link, it's it's a valuable thing. If it's not adding value, if it's trying to sneak and cheat your way to it, then that's the link building of old. So that's the question you want to ask yourself: is you want to rank, you want to improve your organic search numbers. How are you adding value? And link building can help with that.
All right. Well, I believe we have got most of the votes in for the poll, and we will be moving forward to Ian Lurie of Portent's portion of the presentation.
I like the intro music.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Nice.
So, hey everybody, I'm Ian Lurie, and I am going to be talking about things you probably don't want to hear. Just as a follow-on, I want to say thanks to Page One Power for having me on the show. This is really fun. Every now and then, and I don't know why I do this to myself, but I will go out and just do a quick search on the web for the most ridiculous article titles I can imagine. And So a couple months ago, I did a search on 50 Shades of Marketing. I figured I'd see a couple things, and I saw 41,000 articles, 50 Shades of, and then marketing. And so then I did 50 Shades of SEO, and there's still 6,000. So we're just beating the crap out of this tactic, right? We're just doing it again and again and again, and don't worry, this is going somewhere. But it's just absolutely excruciatingly painful for me to see it, and understand we all do it, right? We've all, rammed content marketing down clients or bosses' throats, and we've gone out there and we've put kittens up on the web and everything else, and now we're all out there talking about content, right? Content, 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 which gives us wonderful things like this. I will write a 500 words SEO article on any topic in 2 days. If I have to edit your title, your advertising headline, I probably don't want to hire you as a writer, but this person probably gets some customers. And then I get things like this. This is not page one power. I just want to point that out. Okay, this is not what they do. But this is where you get the greetings of the day emails. And so I got to start off by saying we're doing it wrong. If this is what's happening with content marketing, this is on Google Trends. If this is what's happening with content marketing, this is how much we're talking about it now as a marketing tactic. And infographics have become this important, while at the same time discussions of robots.txt have gone right down the toilet. Something's wrong. All right, we're forgetting something critical. Content just ain't cutting it anymore. And I'm not saying that content's not crucial. It is a crucial part of marketing. It's a crucial part of SEO. What I'm saying is we are relying on content as the only way to feed our SEO campaigns. The number of agencies I see now who go out and say content, 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 and don't talk about some of the other crucial legs on the SEO stool, it just keeps going up every week. So what I'm really saying here is not that content, the way we're doing content isn't cutting it. What I'm really saying is the way we're doing SEO is just not cutting it right now. And we've gotten away from a lot of the most important elements of good SEO and good link building. For example, I know, usually I would say doorway pages. Really, who's still doing doorway pages? This is 2015, but apparently people are still doing doorway pages because Google is implementing an algorithm change to target doorway pages and remove them from the rankings, and they're doing that now in 2015. So that sort of breaks my heart a little bit. And then again, this is how interested we all are in robots.txt, and I don't have to do a poll. I think everyone agrees this is probably a fairly important aspect of SEO, is understanding how robots.txt works, but just look at what's happened, right? Nobody talks about it anymore. So the thing you probably don't want to hear, and people are probably already getting an idea, is we got to learn the technology again, right? We have to actually learn how you improve mobile performance, how you increase link authority by fixing broken links, and you do that by looking at log files and stuff like that. We have to remind ourselves basically how this internet stuff works. And until we do that, we're going to be throwing content at people and trying to make that into a working SEO tactic and using it to drive everything we do in SEO, and we're going to continue to have problems. Understanding the technology improves visibility. Right? SEO is about three things: visibility, relevance, and authority. Well, relevance is established mostly by content and then relevance of links. Sorry, guys, I had to sneeze. Sorry, that doesn't usually happen to me. Anyway, but visibility is really heavily influenced by technology. Right? Technology is a profound part of visibility because it's how you either ensure that, it's how you both ensure that search engines can find you and how you ensure that people who come to your site are able to see things. And by the way, if someone can't even use your site, they're a lot less likely to link to it. I just want to say that. So I'm going to go over things like mobile very quickly and get to links because I know that's really why everybody is here. So everyone's obsessed with mobile right now because Google announced this change to their algorithm. I have to say this will probably be one of the biggest changes in the history of Google. It's going to affect well over 30% of Google rankings, certainly on mobile. And the nice thing is it's a pretty easy thing to figure out. And if you haven't already handled it, just go to this page. And by the way, I have a link bundle that links to all the stuff that I'm talking about here as well as to my slides. And I'll give you the link to that link bundle at the end of the presentation. But if you take a look here, you look on this page, Google has actually given you pretty clear direction on what to do, which is kind of unusual, but this time they have given us really clear direction. So go there. All right. If you don't know that you've done this yet, take a look at the mobile SEO test. You can just do a search on Google for mobile SEO tester. It'll take you to the Google tester. If you fail the test, click on documentation, click on this, and you'll get step-by-step on what you need to do to make sure you're ready for this mobile site update. And I don't want to drill too far down into this, but again, this is about knowing the technology, learning the technology. You make your site visible to search engines in mobile by knowing the technology. And if you read this section on Google's site, you will see right away that that's exactly how you affect mobile visibility. You got to learn to speed up your website. All right, site speed is very important. I have been beating this to death for so many years. No one believes, well, not no one. Some people don't believe me about this still. They still have sites that take 10, 15, 20 seconds to load. I don't know how else to put it except to say Google says it on their own site. We must deliver and render above the fold content in under 1 second. I don't know how much clearer I can make it. They're not saying your whole page has to load in under a second. They're saying that the above the fold content, the stuff that people see first, has to render that quickly. And that's mostly for mobile, but obviously it's good for desktop search as well. And again, this is about learning the technology. You should know how to export a PNG from Photoshop. If you don't know how to export a PNG from Photoshop, you end up with things like a 77 kilobyte tile. If you look at the graphic on the left, all right, that's exactly the size and shape. I have not scaled it up or down. And then that tiles across in the footer of somebody's website. That tile is 77 kilobytes. All right, I put it into actually Adobe Fireworks and exported it to 2 kilobytes. Right? Know the technology. If you don't, you do things that can sometimes make you really look silly, but if you can learn the technology now, you have some really easy wins with stuff like this. And did I mention also that a site that loads faster will mean more links? Because again, the faster the site is, the more people talk about it, the faster the word spreads, the more likely you are to get links, the more people talk about it, the faster it spreads, and so on. So if you want to think about link building, again, go all the way down the stack. Look at your infrastructure, look at how your site is built, and learn the technology. I'm thinking of making a t-shirt. I should have made that the poll at the end. Do people think this should be made into a t-shirt? I'll sell it on Cafe Press. Put my kid through college. What I really want to spend a lot of time talking about here, though, again, because I know this is a link-focused webinar, is link restoration. And this really, again, will come back to technology and relearning technology. You probably have a lot of quality links, high authority links that you can get back, that you used to have, that you broke in some way. And I don't mean like you broke, darn you. I mean they broke because your site migrated, it migrated several times. Maybe you switched a page, maybe you took something down, maybe you didn't update something, whatever. There's lots of reasons that links kind of expire over time. Well, if you can get those back, right, just like the guys were talking about a minute ago about quality links, you can get quality links back very quickly, very efficiently, very low risk. So what are the things you got to learn? Well, first of all, you got to learn canonicalization. Say that 10 times fast, I dare you. It's not really a word, by the way, but it makes sense. And I'm not just talking about rel canonical. A lot of the time when people talk about canonical and canonicalization, they're talking about adding the rel canonical tag to the top of their pages. That is not what it is. It is a computer term, and for an old fart like me, it goes way back before the internet. That means one name for one thing. And I just mangled the definition probably, and there's going to be a whole bunch of computer science guys sending me angry notes. But as an example, if you have an apple that you picked at 2 p.m. and 12 seconds, that is one apple. It is not an apple tree. It is not apples. It is not the apple that was picked at 2 p.m. and 13 seconds. This is the apple that has a single name. This is not canonical, okay? Each of these URLs points at the same thing, and as people, we understand that, but they are canonically different URLs. What that means is if a search engine comes and looks at these, they're going to see 3 different pages: www, not www, and /index.html. Those are 3 different pages that all happen to be duplicate. If you have links pointing at those 3 pages, that's a problem. So I got to step back here. When my son was really young, he's a teenager now, but he had his first goldfish, and the goldfish died, and it was very sad. So we were trying to figure out how to tell him, right? This is a parental thing that you just have to figure out. And the first time we said, you know, okay, your goldfish went to Goldfish Happy Land, and it's getting lots of food, fish flakes and stuff, and it's happy. Let's go get another goldfish, and he was good. And that's really what happens when you have these 3 different URLs, and I know this is a bizarre analogy, but what I'm really saying is there's a recovery here, and it's an easy recovery. Take 2 of these away, redirect them to the one common one, it's all fixed. Or in my son's case, he got over it very quickly. 301 redirect, that's a form of redirect. It's called a response code from a server. 301 redirects tell a visiting search engine and browser, this page has moved forever. It is now at this other URL. So if I'm going to, you know, portent.com/blog, but we've moved it to blogs, then we would set up a 301 redirect, which would tell search engines, okay, from now on go to blogs instead of blog. That will hand some authority, pass some authority that was pointed at the original page to the new page. It will hand some of it, and it will degrade over time. So 301 is better than nothing, but ideally, if you have a link that's, you know, if you have a page that's changing address, you want to do something else, like not change the address. Okay, that's the big thing here is a lot of people think that 301 redirects are the magic bullet for when you move a bunch of pages around. They are not the magic bullet. You're going to lose authority over time. So the ideal here is to not move those pages around. If you build a new site, maintain your URL structure. You can add new stuff, but maintain it. If you are going to, you know, if you have a piece of content, if you're going to do a webinar every week, don't have a different page every week for the webinar. Have a standard webinar page that shows the new webinar content every week. That way you're not 301 redirecting, right? Because otherwise you would probably redirect from this week's webinar page to next week's webinar page and so on. That authority will decay. As people link to those pages, the 301 will pass some of that authority, not all of it. Or in this case, I told my son that all drains lead to the ocean, flushed the goldfish down. He was a little upset, but he did okay. So we basically redirected the situation, putting it off. A 302 redirect is a signal that a server sends, a response code that a server sends back to a browser or a search engine saying, the page you just tried to access is not here right now. Go over here, go over to this other page instead, but this page you tried to access, it's going to be back. What that tells a search engine is don't pass any authority to the second page. Wherever you're being sent, wherever the 302 is pointing, do not pass any authority there. There are times to do this, like if you set up a temporary home page and it's at a different address or something, you use subdomains, then that's a good time to use this. But remember, no authority gets passed with a 302. I see many, many sites that have www.site.com as well as site.com, and they 302 redirect from site.com to the www address, thereby slashing all authority that shows up at the non-www address. That is not good. All right, that is almost a permanent loss, which took me to the 3rd time his goldfish died. By the way, this all happened over like 3 weeks because, let's face it, they're goldfish. And I just had to say, you know what, your goldfish is dead. I'm sorry, son. And he got really sad about that, and that was kind of a lesson that he eventually got over, but it took quite a while, and basically all my credibility from previous discussions was gone. So sort of like a 302 redirect. He from then on thought anything I told him about dying pets was probably not totally true. So 302 redirect, it's a temporary redirect. Am I really depressing people with this? Because it's meant to be funny, but it's just making me feel like I maladjusted my kid forever, which is my job as a parent, so that's fine. 404, This is a signal that a server responds with when a page does not exist, when the page is gone, and the server just says, I don't know where the page is. This can be good. All right, if you have a ton of pages you've taken down from your site, you want browsers, you want search engines to understand those pages are gone. But you can often recover a lot of links by looking through log files for 302 and 404 messages. So here's an example. I got a log file from a client website, and I found all these 302 redirects. These were all lost authority. If we could change them to 301s, at least get some authority back. Here's an even better one. I went through a client's log file looking for 404 errors, and I found them a broken link from Stanford. That was a legitimate page. It wasn't some kind of junk page that was put up there, but a legitimate link from Stanford that was broken. And the way we fixed that is we put a new page up. We replaced the page that was gone. All right, we put up a new page there just to replace that missing page. And what that did was it brought all the link authority back. It got them that link from Stanford again. So looking for this stuff, that's a huge authoritative link you just recovered. And you can dig into these log files using a very simple, not simple, but a basic command line tool called grep. All right, G-R-E-P. And no, I don't know what it stands for, sorry. And this command, which is, again, in the slide deck, so you can just cut and paste it if you want, this command will search a log file for all 404 errors and show them to you. All right, that's what it will do. You don't have to use this command. I'll show you some alternatives in a minute, but again, learn the technology. All right, as SEOs, we need to understand how a log file works. We need to understand how you explore a log file. Here I'm looking for 302s. This may sound like, oh, Ian's geeking out. He's trying to make us all into nerds. A little bit, yes, because as SEOs, yes, we should be very good at the marketing. All right, we should be good at the content side. We should be good at figuring out who our audience is and building out an infrastructure and a content infrastructure that's good for them. I mean, understand, I'm a marketer first, SEO second, so I get that. But you also need to understand the technology. Now, an easier way to do this, which won't necessarily grab quite as many links, but it's almost as good, is to use Moz's Open Site Explorer. So you can go in there and just look for top pages on your domain, and you'll immediately see pages that are responding with error codes. You can do the same thing in Google Webmaster Tools, right? I can say, all right, there's a link from SlideShare. I should probably fix this. The reason, though, that I use log files is because sometimes there's clicks coming into your site, and it'll be one click, in 6 months, and it'll be that click from Stanford. And suddenly you'll realize, oh my God, I got to get that back. So that's why I look through the log files as well. Then there's redirect chains. And what I mean by a redirect chain is when you get many consecutive redirects. So maybe I go to one page, a search engine goes to one page and it sees, okay, a temporary redirect to this other one, but then it gets a 301 permanent redirect to another one, and then a temporary redirect to another one. By the time you get 3 in there, the search engine just says, yeah, forget it. I'm not going to follow that. You want to fix those. And you can do that with a program called Screaming Frog. If you haven't heard it, you want to go take a look. And I have no business relationship with them, by the way. So I just really like the tool. So you can use their tool, go into Spider, set it to always follow redirects, crawl your site, and when you're done crawling, you can download these redirect chains and just find out, okay, here's places where I jumped more than twice, and then you can go in and fix them. You can also use this nice command line tool called curl. Again, getting pretty geeky, all right, but you can actually see the header, right? So here's a 302 is the first one. I then went and did a curl on the target URL for the 301, and it took me to a 302. So that's a chain of redirects. Fix duplicate content, all right? This is the duplicate content toilet bowl of death, and I will show you what I mean. Those are all URLs pointing at the same page. Isn't that awesome? That destroys link authority. It absolutely trashes it. It's gone. And all these things that I'm describing, the canonical problem and the duplicate content toilet bowl of death, it's like having Ralph Nader and Ross Perot there splitting your votes. And I'm probably dating myself again, but just splitting votes, right? Because people are linking to all those different URLs, and you're losing a lot of your leverage. You can use rel canonical, again, but it's a Band-Aid. It's not perfect. If I'm Google and I go to one site that uses rel canonical and another one that doesn't, which one am I going to choose, all things being equal? So try not to use it when you have to. And then the last one here is, don't just try to build everything into your page, okay? Because again, that's many, many links on one page. It's again splitting your votes by spinning a lot of the link authority out from that page, right? It's like you're poking many holes in a bucket that holds water. So again, learn the technology and no funny business, okay? You know, I'm talking about fixing broken links. Don't go out and start fixing broken links by putting fake pages in and breaking them and then putting more. That's not going to help you, okay? Think about site performance. Think about link restoration. Think about the ways that you can get more links without attracting feral waterfowl, and you'll do just fine. But again, learn the technology. Also, quick bit of self-promotion. I have a book called One Trick Ponies Get Shot. It's about business strategy. If one person buys the copy, you will double my sales for the month. So please, someone, go buy one copy. Thank you all very much. And I believe we will now go to questions. If you notice under the link bundle, that is the link. It's portent.co/link-tech. I'll tweet that out a little bit later. And you can find me at PortentInt.
Thank you, Ian. That was awesome. I really learned a lot myself. So I'm sure I speak for our audience. I say that was very, very useful. We're going to push out a poll question right now for Portent. If you're interested in learning more about their services, please say yes. And someone over there will just get in touch with you via email. Again, thank you, Ian. That was excellent.
Oh, you're welcome. It was really fun.
Okay, so Ian, Nick, and Cody, are you both still there?
You betcha. We are here.
We have a few questions that were submitted during the presentation, and why don't we just go back and forth between the two. So Nick and Cody, we have a question. How do you judge success and failure on link building?
Ooh, great question. So that can be a difficult thing to do in the short term. As we mentioned before, that link building is a long-term strategy. It's not really a quick win thing. And so, in the course of a month or a couple months or even 6 months, it's going to be hard to necessarily see dramatic improvements in the SERPs, for instance. And so, at Page One Power, we kind of established, I guess, what we call some KPIs, some key performance indicators. And so there's some metrics that we use, and there are probably ones that some of our listeners are familiar with, Moz's domain authority and page authority, and things like Majestic's trust flow and citation flow, and those kind of things they don't dictate the success, but they kind of can be the signs of the success of a link building campaign. And then, one thing, that we always stress is it goes back to, are your links adding value? Are these the kind of links that people would want to click on? Are they driving any traffic, which you can check in your analytics? And so these are some of the indicators that can show you that over time this is going to work, and this is going to, it's going to have the results that you want in the search engine result pages. Over time. Nick, do you have anything to add to that?
Right. Ultimately, the final measure is how much you've improved rankings across many keywords, or how many more keywords you're ranking for. Improving the number of keywords you're showing up, that you have pages showing up for. Not just, oh, we've got 5 to 10 keywords we want to rank for. We want tires, wheels, and spokes. Well, let's also look at all of the long tails and all the variations of mid to short kind of volumes.
It's not all about one money keyword. It's not
just about these money keywords, these vanity keywords. Oh, I show up for tires, so I'm the best on the left. Well, maybe it's better to show up for how to change a tire, because there's going to be a little better shareability and linkability. You can earn equity there and then improve ranking for many other pages, not just focus so singular.
So I guess that, to really answer the question, at the end of the day, it's going to be about, organic search traffic, numbers from analytics, and your ranking performance in the SERPs. But, along the way, there's going to be a lot of, indicators, kind of some objective, like the metrics we talk about, and some subjective that will tell you whether or not your campaign is working.
Right, and as you build authority, I think something that's interesting to look at is how much authority your brand's starting to get.
Right.
Did you have to just kind of go after smaller sites when you were initially writing content? Now your content has legs. You have a portfolio behind your brand. You have equity so that you can build relationships with higher tier sites.
Right. And are you getting the influencers that you wanted to target when you make your plan? Are they starting to listen? Are you starting to get some links and shares from these types of people that you specifically targeted? And that can be a good sign that your content strategy and your link building campaign is working.
Right.
Excellent answers, guys. Ian, here's a question for you. It says you'd mentioned keeping URL structure the same. What if you have to revise it? Do you have any suggestions for this individual?
Well, if you have to revise it, I mean, you don't have that many options. You can do a 301 redirect, and almost anything else you do will have the same effect as far as linking and authority. So that would be my recommendation. And what I would suggest you be very careful about is, let's say you change every page URL on your site. Don't just 301 redirect every URL back to your new homepage. Do a wildcard so that anyone going to a particular page on the site is then redirected to the new version of that particular page. So like if I have a /products page and I go to new address /products, or I go to /products dash listings as the new address, it should take me there. Don't just take me back to the homepage.
That's good. Excellent answer. This is a question for both Nick and Cody and Ian. In the presentation that Nick and Cody had, they said the top of funnel, link building focuses on top of funnel marketing, getting links to those pages. What if I want to rank product pages? What do I do link building wise? What's a good approach for that?
So the way we like to do it is create content that's targeting the top of the funnel, is easy to get links and shares to, and within that content, within that top of the funnel content, you want internal links pointing to relevant product pages, so make that content relevant to your product as well. Still at the top of the funnel, have internal links going to your bottom of the funnel converting product pages, and that link equity that you accrue at the top of the funnel content page will flow down through those internal links and be directed towards those pages you want it to be directed to.
Yeah, and also to add to that, like one thing that I always say is kind of a rising tide raises all vessels. And so if your great content is getting a lot of links and Google's starting to view that as an authority, with or without links directly to the product pages, the rankings are going to improve.
I'd like to take a second here to talk a little bit more about the importance of internal linking. This is totally along Learn the Technology of Ian Spiel, that use top pages in Open Site Explorer and see what pages are not being linked to. See what pages already have the most link equity, which you can kind of measure through their page authority metric and laws, and direct internal links to pages that aren't internally linked to enough. Simply by just optimizing the equity you already have on your website, you can likely improve ranking for many of your pages just by guiding the crawlers in an easier to understand way for them.
Yeah, what I was going to say really quick, this is Ian, there's really three things I always recommend. One is look at your architecture, just like everyone just said. Make sure that there's a clear path back to your product pages from every other page on your site. Take a look actually also at your analytics. See what your top landing pages are. Where are people coming into your site most often? Make sure that those pages lead directly back to product pages. And then the third thing is consolidate links wherever possible. So if in the footer of your site you have 3 links, one for privacy, one for terms, one for legal, and maybe even 4, one for copyright, put all those together into a single page, put all that stuff on one page, have one link called legal. And the reason you do that is, again, if you picture pages as buckets and authority as the water, the more holes you poke, the less you can control where the water goes. So if you can consolidate links, then when you do point those links at your product pages from other pages, you're going to forward more authority to those pages, and they'll probably have an easier time ranking.
Suggestions. Thanks, guys. Ian, this question's pointed at you. Can you tell me what a doorway page is?
I'm glad you don't know. You have no idea how happy that makes me. So doorway pages are pages created just for the purpose of ranking and being crawled by search engines. So you might create a doorway page that has really super optimized copy on it that reads horribly but has the keyword on it 25 times. And then you detect whether a search engine is visiting your site or a regular browser. And if it's a search engine, you send them to the doorway page. If it's a regular browser, you send them to whatever the normal page is. That's also called cloaking. Now, that used to be the really blatant kind. Now what a lot of folks do is they just put a page out there that only links back to the rest of the site. It doesn't actually have any links to it from the site. That also would qualify as a doorway page. So basically, it's a page that only lets you in. There's no way to get back to it. And that, therefore, could be a page that's highly optimized for ranking. You figure your users see it once, and then people can click, then they'll click and go into your site, and they'll take action there. So those are the two kinds of doorway pages.
Okay, great answer. This is a question also from both of you. If you are a new local company, what are the top 3 no-nos for SEO and link building? Why don't you go ahead and answer this one first, Ian?
Okay. The first one is first paying attention to SEO and link building. Sorry, guys. You want to look at local SEO and make sure that you've got all your directory listings on Google and Bing and all the major directory providers, that you have them completely correct and dialed in. So that's the first no-no, is actually if you don't act on that. The other 2 things I would be very wary of is accepting any or buying any deal from like a company that says it's a local Yellow Pages provider or a business directory where if you pay them an extra $50, you'll get a link back to your site from them. That's 99.9% of the time they're complete spammers. And they may argue they have a legitimate business going, and maybe they do, but as far as their link building practices, they're complete spam, and you will run afoul of Penguin and get a penalty very quickly. The other thing for SEO is don't just load up your site with content that says, Seattle bicycles for the bicycle Seattle for people who like to bicycle in Seattle because the bicycles are really nice in Seattle. Don't do that. You're going to have to be patient, but it's easier to slowly rise up in the rankings than it is to recover from a penalty. So those would be the 3 things that I'd put out there.
Okay, well, that's great. Nick, Cody, what do you think?
I agree with everything Ian just said. I would add that I think that this isn't the thing you should not do. This is the thing you should do. In addition to that, you want to be, creating some kind of content that targets your customers' potential questions and problems and pain points. And while Ian's right, the first thing you want to do is not focus on link building. You want to get your listings, optimized and focus on that first. I will say that I think over time, as Google kind of tightens their local search algorithm in the same way that they've done with the regular search algorithm, that just getting like kind of NAP citations built probably isn't necessarily going to be enough. And so I think that the links will be important for local SEO, and they are now. But I agree with Ian that that's not maybe the first thing that you want to do.
Yeah, no, and absolutely. The best case is if you could do both.
Right.
I mean, that would be perfect. If you have to choose, I would get the NAP stuff, the listings done first, and then build links. And of course, local links are even better.
Right.
Yeah, I really don't have a lot to add to that. I mean, that's exactly my philosophy as well. Get your local SEO set, get your Google Plus business page set up, make sure you're showing up in the local pack that you should. And then after that, keep in mind that link building should always be the last step that anybody takes in internet marketing. You need your content set. You need your site technically sound and fast. You need your social set up. You need all of your presence, all of that out there. You need a content game. All of this needs to be happening before you build links.
Get the value
before links will matter at all, you need a good site that's fast and has strong technical SEO and good content.
And that's true for local SEO.
You need a good marketing plan. That's what we're really saying.
I'll add something that I think that a lot of time local and smaller SEO situations, they do a lot of copy and paste with content. You make sure your content's all original. That's pretty common. If you can cross that bridge and then not spam the keywords like you mentioned, you've gotten most of the job done. And then it's going out and getting your citations and links. But great. Well, that's all the time we have for our webinar today. There are a few questions that weren't answered here in the webinar. We'll give those to the appropriate people, and they can, if they want to send an email with a response, they can do that. If you respond yes to the poll, someone will be contacting you, a friendly person to chat, see what you're curious about. But I want to just give a heartfelt thanks to Ian for spending some time with us today. We appreciate your time and effort. and for the very useful information, and also to Nick and Cody for giving us their expertise. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
My pleasure to be here. Thanks.
We'll see you next time on Page on Power webinar. Thank you.